The scout ship drifted through the quiet dark, its metal skin glowing faintly in the light of the nearby planet. Inside the small cockpit, Lieutenant Mark Hale tried to focus on his controls, but his eyes kept sliding to the pilot's chair beside. His partner, was not human. She called herself Sira. Her people were known as the Volpiri, fox-like species with sharp senses and sharp minds. Her long red hair flowed down her back like fire, and her tall, pointed ears twitched at every noise the ship made. Thick, soft tail rested over the side of her seat, moving slowly, like it had a mind of its own. Her eyes, a strange, glowing gold, seemed to notice everything. "You are staring again, human," Sira said calmly, without looking at him. There was the tiniest smile in her voice. "I know my kind are distracting to your people. Try to remember you are on duty." Mark cleared his throat and straightened up in his seat. "Sorry, I've never worked with a Volpiri before. The briefing didn't really prepare me for you." "For my ears?" she asked, finally turning to glance at him. "My tail? My fur? Or for the fact that a predator species can sit still without snarling and waving a weapon around?" He gave a small, embarrassed grin. "Honestly, all of it. Most non-human operatives I've worked with looked like they could bench press a tank. You're different." Sira's laugh was soft and musical, but there was an edge under it. "We prefer to use our minds, not brute force. Do not confuse that with weakness. Human. A Volpiri can be very dangerous when we need to be." Out. Moments stretched between them, heavy with something that was not just professional respect. Mark noticed the faint scent of her fur in the air, wild, warm, and strangely pleasant. His pulse sped up a little. He forced his eyes back to his console. The ship's sensors beeped, cutting through the tension. Sira's ears snapped forward at once. Her fingers danced over the controls as she brought up the readings. "Unusual energy signatures from the third moon," she reported, her voice suddenly all business. "They match the profile of the smuggler activity we were given." Mark leaned closer to his screen. "Yeah, these numbers line up with the intel. Looks like our tip wasn't garbage. After all, then we proceed," Sira said. "We will land in that valley near the southern ridge. The minerals in the rock will hide us from their scanners." He watched as she guided the ship down. Her movements were precise and smooth, every adjustment perfect. The landing was so gentle, he barely felt the ship touch the ground. When the engines powered down, Sira stood and reached for her gear. Her tail swished once, brushing against his leg as she passed. He tried very hard not to react. "We walk from here," she said, checking a handheld scanner. "Their base is about 3 kilometers to the northeast. The terrain is rough and this world is not well studied. Stay close." "Worried about me already?" Mark asked, shouldering his pack. "I am being practical," she replied. "I would rather not write a report explaining how I lost my human partner on our first mission together." The air outside was cool and strange. The rocks were tinted purple and tall. Twisted plants glowed faintly with inner light. The sky. Above them was a pale, washed-out blue with 2 small moons hanging low on the horizon. Sira moved like she belonged there. Her steps were silent. Her ears turned in different directions, listening for sounds he could not hear. Her tail shifted for balance as she climbed over jagged stones and led the way between strange, glowing plants. More than once, she threw out an arm to stop him. "Do not step there. The ground is unstable. Do not touch that plant." "The resin is toxic. Wait, something is moving ahead." Every time, Mark realized she had saved him from danger before he even knew it was there. "You're good at this," said during a short break, leaning against a rock. "I have been doing it most of my life," she answered, scanning the horizon. Then she glanced at him with those golden eyes. "You are quiet, human. Most of your kind talk about themselves constantly." "Maybe I'm just a better listener," Mark said. "Besides, I'm still trying to figure you out. You're more interesting than anything I could say." Her ears twitched, and a faint blush colored the fine fur along her cheeks. "Flattery will not help you if you fall into a sinkhole," she said, but her voice was softer than before. "Still, you are not quite what I expected either." "What did you expect? A human male who talks too loud, moves too fast, and assumes he is the center of the mission, she said simply. Instead, I got you. Before he could ask if that was a compliment, her ears suddenly tilted forward, every muscle going still. She lifted one hand, signaling him to be silent. Vehicles, she whispered. Heavy ones. Half a kilometer? Ahead, moving fast. Mark checked his scanner. Nothing. I'm not seeing anything. Trust my ears, not your device, she said. We need cover now. They ducked into a narrow crack between two tall rocks. The space was small and tight, forcing them very close together. Mark could feel the warmth of her body against his chest. Her tail brushed along his leg as she shifted to make space, and he caught that wild scent again, stronger in the enclosed space. His heart hammered in his chest. From both the danger and the closeness. Through the narrow gap, they watched a convoy of dark hover trucks roll past below them, engines humming low. The vehicles headed toward what looked like a hidden entrance in the side of a mountain. There they are, Sarah murmured, her breath warm against his ear. Smugglers. And that base is bigger than our intelligence report suggested. We should move closer, Mark said quietly. Get readings, tech, troop numbers, defenses. The brass will want details. Yes, she answered, but she did not move right away. Her eyes met his in the dim light. There was something different in her gaze now, something intense and searching. If this goes wrong, she said softly, we could both die out here. It won't, he said. We're a good team. Her tail gave a slow, thoughtful flick. Better than you know, perhaps. They waited until the last truck vanished into the mountain. Only then did they slip back out into the open and begin to circle closer, staying low among the rocks. Mark couldn't shake the feeling that something between them had quietly changed in that cramped hiding place. The way she moved near him felt more deliberate, more aware of the space he took up. She pointed toward a rocky ridge above the hidden doors. There, from that height, we can watch the entrance and scan their traffic without being seen. They climbed, moving carefully. Mark watched the way her body flowed with each step, how her tail helped her balance over narrow edges, how her ears kept searching for danger even while she moved. Stop it, he told himself. This is a mission, not a date. They reached the top, set up their equipment, and began recording. For a while, things were simple. Ships arriving, crates being moved, guards changing positions. Mark focused on his scanner, forcing his mind back. To work. Then the sky changed. The first sign was the readings on Sierra's wrist device. The second was her ears flattening hard against her head. Storm, she said, her voice suddenly tense. A bad one. The electromagnetic activity is spiking. How bad? Mark asked. Lethal, if we stay on open ground, she replied. The lightning here does more than burn. It fries nerves and organs. We need shelter, now. He looked back toward their ship. It was too far. We won't make it there in time. There are caves in the cliff below us, Sierra said, already packing her gear. If we hurry, we might survive. The wind picked up in a rush. The air crackled. Around them, making the hair on Mark's arms stand on end. A flash of purple lightning cut across the sky, followed by a deafening roar that made Sierra flinch in pain. Her sensitive ears pressed flat against her skull. Without thinking, Mark grabbed her hand. Come on. They half ran, half slid down. The rocky slope, as the storm rolled in, the air felt thick and hot, the glowing plants dimmed as if afraid. Another blast of strange lightning smashed into a distant ridge, sending shards of rock flying into the air. There, Sparrow shouted, pointing to a dark opening in the rock. They dove into the cave just as a wave of crackling energy swept across the ground outside. Mark felt his skin tingle, even from inside their shelter. The instruments on his arm flickered and died. Sierra checked her tools quickly, then shook her head. Most of our electronics are gone, she said. But the mineral content in these walls will block the worst of the storm. We are safe. For now, the cave was not large. It was more like a deep hollow in the rock. Enough room to sit and lie down, but not much space to move. The air was cool and dry. Outside, the strange storm roared and flashed, turning the entrance. Into a flickering curtain of light, Mark slid down against the wall, breathing hard. Well, at least we're not dead. We are alive, Sira said, settling beside him. That is the important part. These storms can cook exposed flesh in seconds. He shivered a little. The temperature in the cave felt lower than outside. His human body did not like it. Sarah glanced at him, her eyes narrowing. You are cold, a bit, he admitted. Our bodies don't regulate heat as well as yours do. She sighed, the sound somewhere between annoyed and fond. Humans, she murmured, always pretending they are fine. Before he could answer, she moved closer and pressed her side against his. Her soft fur brushed his arm and shoulder. Her tail curled around his legs like a warm blanket. Body heat is the most efficient solution, she said calmly. But do not argue. Mark's heart jumped. He could feel the warmth pouring off her, the rise and fall of her breathing, the steady beat of her heart where her chest touched his arm. Her scent filled the small space. Wild, warm, and comforting. Better? She asked after a moment. Yeah, he said quietly. Much better. She tilted her head, studying him. Your heart rate has increased, she noted, and this time he was sure he heard amusement in her voice. Is my proximity making you uncomfortable, human? Not uncomfortable, he said. Just very aware of what? He met her eyes. There was no way out of it now, not with the storm raging outside and her wrapped around him like this. A view of this, whatever it is between us. For a moment she said nothing. Then her ears relaxed, and a slow, pleased smile curved. Her lips, finally, she whispered, You admit it. She lifted a hand and traced her fingers lightly along his jaw. Her touch was gentle, almost careful, like she was testing something fragile. I was beginning to think humans were blind to subtle signals. Trust me, Mark said, catching her hand and holding it. There's nothing subtle about how you affect me. I just wasn't sure if it was. Loud, you humans and your rules, she said softly. Do you feel this connection? This pull, even though we are different species? Yes, he said at once. I felt it the moment I met you, and that is what matters. Her voice dropped to a murmur. My people believe that when two souls truly see each other, questions of species become very small. He leaned closer without thinking. She met him halfway. Their first kiss was careful and slow, full of curiosity and hunger at the same time. Her lips were soft and warm. She made a small sound in her throat that sent fire racing through his veins. Outside, the storm howled and cracked against the rocks. Inside the cave, their world shrank to the feel of hands and breath and heartbeat. Two very different bodies learning each other in the middle of a violent alien night. When they finally broke apart for air, Sira's eyes glowed in the dim light. With a new, fierce intensity, I should warn you, she said, her voice a low purr. Volpiri do not treat bonds like this lightly. We are not like humans, who take lovers and then walk away, and we choose for life. Mark searched her face, feeling the weight of her words. Outside, lightning crashed again, shaking the ground. Then maybe, he said slowly, this mission is going to change more than the smuggler's plans. Her tail tightened around his legs, holding him close. As the storm raged, and the stakes of their mission grew far beyond anything either of them had expected, if they failed, they would die out there, burned by alien lightning or shot by smugglers. But if they survived, nothing about their lives or their hearts would ever be the same again.